Hello everyone, this is Lerone Kuntz and I'm back on the stoop. And you know what that means? That means that the Norman Seabrook trial is about to start. It's going to start tomorrow, August 1st. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August 1st, is going to be at the Thurgood Marshall Courthouse, 40 Foley Square in Manhattan, right off of Center Street. So if you want to attend, come on down. If not, I'll keep you updated right here, from right here on the stoop. The reason why I'm waving this bag is that there's a lot of mosquitoes out here today, and I don't have any spray. So if you see me swatting and waving, that's what's going on here. Okay. For those of you who have been following on the stoop, you know what's going on. But there's people out here that are out there that don't know what I'm doing here. I've had relatives and friends say, hey man, I saw a video of you sitting on your stoop and I tried to start listening to it and I didn't understand what the heck you were talking about. And that's because if you didn't catch it from the beginning, it's kind of hard to follow once we get into it. So I'm going to use today to kind of recap what this next trial is about. So if you want to start listening now to keep up, then that's fine. The trial that ended in November was a trial where Norman Seabrook, the former president of the Correction Officers Union here in New York City, was being tried for conspiracy and fraud. A few years prior, he invested $20 million of the union's funds in a hedge fund. And the hedge fund subsequently went bankrupt, and the correction officers lost $19 million. The federal government got interested in what had happened. They started to investigate, and they feel that crimes were committed. They feel that Norman Seabrook committed fraud and conspiracy and accepted a bribe and worked out an arrangement with the hedge fund to receive $100,000 a year because of him steering this $20 million of union funds into that hedge fund. So that's why he's on trial. In November, his trial ended in a hung jury. The jury could not determine whether he was innocent or guilty. The federal government decided to retry him, and they're going to start the case tomorrow. Mosquitoes. Okay? Now that's your update. Now for those of you who were following last year in November, you know that there were two people on trial at the time. It was Seabrook and the hedge fund manager, Murray Huberfeld. Well, this time around, Seabrook will be on trial by himself. Murray Huberfeld pled guilty to wire fraud. And I'll get into that, down the road a little later, maybe a few episodes in. But the thing to know here is that Seabrook is on trial by himself. And Murray Huberfeld is not part of this trial. From everything that I've read, he won't even be testifying against Seabrook or anything. Seabrook is just going to be the lone defendant in this trial. So it should be very interesting. It should be a bit shorter than the last trial because they're not trying two people, they're trying one. Last time it was about 2 weeks long, a little over 2 weeks long. So I'm thinking that it probably won't last that long this time, but if it does, we're going to cover it right here. A little bit about me, being that we have time and there's nothing happening in the case right now. I'm a retired New York City correction officer. I retired in 2005, so I feel like I'm kind of removed from the situation and I can be objective about it, not so emotional about it. I'm not going to weigh in on whether or not I think he's innocent or guilty. I'm going to leave that to you, and I'm just going to give you the facts about the case. I'm interested in this case because, yes, I was a New York City correction officer, and this guy was the union president when I was on a job. Matter of fact, it was my generation or us that voted him in about 25 years ago. And so I guess I feel a sense of responsibility for what's going on, even though I left the job in 2005. I also was a delegate before I left at Bellevue Hospital, prison ward. And so I kind of understand how the union functions. And I'm interested in finding out how this money was spent and why these officers lost $19 million. I mean, it's just simple as that. For those of you who would like to support this On the Stoop broadcast and this coverage, I would like to show you something. A few years back, I wrote a book, Correction Officer's Guide to Understanding Inmates, the 44 Keys to Power, Control, and Respect. You can call it Correction Officer's Guide. Some of you have heard of the book, some of you have read the book, I know. And for those of you who haven't, or those of you who have read it and want another copy and want to give it away, it is on sale on Amazon for $12.95, paperback, which this is, and as an ebook or Kindle or whatever type of medium you want to use, it's $9.99, which is very reasonable for what you get. As I said, I retired in 2005 after 20 years of city service, 19 years as a correction officer. And when I retired, like I said, I was a delegate, and I kind of felt bad that I was leaving when I left, because I knew that I was helping officers, and officers really needed the assistance that I was giving them. And I had accumulated a lot of information during the course of my career that I felt that I still needed to share. So in order to give back and in order to continue to help the officers, I decided to write a book. I decided to write this book, and that's what this book is about. And correction officers is who this book is for. But it's good reading for anybody, but I wrote it for correction officers because if you notice, there's a lot of books about policing. You can go to any bookstore or any library or even equipment store, and you can find books about, being a cop or being a detective or being a street cop or anything like that. There's all kinds of movies about and television shows about policing, but there's not any books. I'm going to say that. There's not any books that really are for correction officers, that relate to correction officers until now. This is the only book that's out that is for correction officers, and not just to talk about war stories and all the negative things that happen in jail. This book is not about that. It's a book to help correction officers do what they have to do. One thing about correction, it repeats itself. The things that I went through, the things that you officers now are going through, are things that my generation of officers went through. And the things that my generation of officers went through are the same things that the generation of officers before me and before us went through. So things have a tendency to repeat themselves. But the only thing in correction is that no one has written down the things that has happened, and no one has shown the pitfalls in such a way that is easy to understand and which makes it easy to avoid. And that's what I've done in this book. And I'm not here to say that I was the greatest correction officer in the world. I did my time on Rikers. I went to Queens House, went to Kings County, went to Bellevue Hospital Prison Ward. I did my OJT at North Facility. So I've been around. I've probably been in every jail and every trailer on Rikers Island. And I've worked with all kinds of inmates, from mental health inmates to gangbangers, drug dealers, kingpins, mafia dons, murderers. And I'm not saying that makes me a great officer. The only thing that makes me an adequate officer is the fact that more experienced officers, senior officers, supervisors, and my colleagues helped me. They guided me, they taught me how to do the job and how to be effective. They taught me how to work the job and not have the job work me. All right. And as a tribute to them, I wrote this book, and I wrote the things down that they taught me. Okay. And things that I needed to know in order to make it to retirement. So I want to share those things with you, so you don't have to make those mistakes that I made and other officers made because we didn't know. Okay? It's one thing to read the rules and regs, but it's another thing to try to apply some of the things that the rules and regs and directives tell us to do. As simple as that. They're two different things, and this is going to help you apply what it is that you need to apply, and it's going to help you carry out your duties as a correction officer. The book talks about report writing. I know that's a boring subject, but I talk about it anyway. We talk about how to deal with troublemakers. We talk about how to get along with your supervisors. We tell you what to do when things go wrong. It's a whole lot of advice here. It's 44 keys, which are 44 chapters chock full of advice. The first book like this ever. Like I said, this book sells on Amazon and has sold all over the country. I get communications from all over the country, from Texas, from California, from Florida, from Alabama, from New Orleans. I mean, correction officers from all over have read this book. I've gotten correspondence from Canada, from Australia, from the UK, from Germany, from places in Africa that have had this book and has helped people. So my mission is to get this book into as many hands as I can, and if there's anything in this book that helps you, it's well worth all the effort. If there's one thing in the book that can help you save your life while working with these inmates, that's what I'm trying to do. If there's anything in this book that can help you not get suspended or not lose a day of vacation or whatever because of something you read in this book, it's well worth it. So for $12.95, you can't beat the information that's here in the book. I'll tell you right now, the book has been $12.95 since 2012, and in January it's going up. So if you want to get it now for this price, and I would appreciate it. Also, some of you have seen these keys. These are keychains. I don't have my zoom on right now, so I'm going to come up to the camera to show you this. This is a keychain in the style of the jail keys that we use in jail. And it's metal alloy, gold covered metal alloy, very durable, very nice, very shiny. And it makes a great gift. It makes a good keychain to hold your keys on, and it's sort of like a commemorative thing. If you're retired, you know, it's good to have this to remind you of where you've been and what you've done. I have 3 different models. I have the one with nothing on it, then I have the 2 that have something on it. This one right here says Care, Custody, and Control, which is the model in correction in New York. It has care, custody, control on one side, and on the other side it says firm, fair, and consistent. I don't know whether you can see that. And then I have this other one that says no guns, just guts on this side, and on the other side it says we face what you fear on that side. So I'm going to provide the link to those too. So if you want to support the broadcast, please purchase either the book or the key. All right. So with that said, this trial starts tomorrow. I will be on that train going to Manhattan. Kind of out of practice on being on the train going to the city during rush hour, but I will do it to cover this trial because I'm curious as to what is going to happen. So tomorrow I will come out with another video if, you know, the trial moves along and there's some information that I need to get to you. If not, I will wait till Thursday to do another video to give you an update, or either Friday to cap the week. So until then, I would like to say peace and stay safe.